This is the Insurance Playbook, where legends aren't born, they're built. Each episode cracks open the pages of success, from battle-tested strategies to bold moves that separate the agents from the amateurs. Whether you're writing your first policy or writing history, you're in the right place. The Insurance Playbook podcast starts now. Hosted by Brinton Atkinson.
Hey there, welcome to the Insurance Playbook, sponsored by Spark AI Partners. I'm your host, Brinton Atkinson, and today I have Ruben Sneor. He has been in the insurance industry for over 3 decades, packs a ton of punch and experience. We're really excited to have him on here. And in this podcast, we just pull back the curtain on the insurance industry, exploring trends, room for growth, struggles, and basically helping agents, brokers, leaders all alike. And so I'm really glad to have you here. Well, yeah, Ruben, take me through a little bit of how you got to be CEO of Ensign National Brokerage. Where did your career start and what brought you here?
You know, years ago, as you probably know, nobody has ever grown up saying, yeah, I want to sell insurance when I get older. It was just a business opportunity that I got into. You know, I'm one of 7 children, and my father died very young, leaving my mother alone. It kind of when I got into the business, I kind of developed a passion for it because I saw the struggle of what it's like for a family to try to survive without the main breadwinner of the home. So as I got in, as I grew up, we had a great life growing up, and we all kind of pitched in and made things work, and it was a wonderful upbringing. But as I got into the business world, insurance was kind of a passion for me because I felt that everybody needs to have this type of protection. Everybody needs to cover and I had kids when I was young. I got married younger. And I'm like, geez, if something happens to me, how are they going to survive? How are they going to grow up and live a normal life? How are they going to have the opportunities that everybody else has? And if they want to go to school, how is that, college, how's that going to get paid for? So I got into the insurance business by chance. And from there, I kind of grew it at my own pace as I got to learn it more. And obviously with every business, the more you know, the better you are.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of young people in this business, at least from what I experience, they're more into their pockets than they are taking care of their clients. They just, they're getting sold a dream of how much money they can make doing this. And you hear all these little interviews with these younger kids saying, yeah, I always wanted to buy my mom a house. Well, I was able to buy her a house, and this business has been great to me. Well, 2 years later, they're selling cars. So the problem is if you're not passionate about it, you'll never succeed.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance industry has really evolved to more of the products are used as tools more than anything. The insurance products today are not the type of insurance that, our grandfathers had growing up. Thank God, grandpa, left us some money through his life insurance when he died. Thank God dad or mom left us money. Now there are so many uses for the insurance products that it's, of course, the death benefit is a major part of any life insurance product, but the inner workings have many different uses.
Living benefits and things, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, and a lot of the companies have, just about every life insurance product has living benefits available now. But it's term life insurance, it's IUL, it's whole life, it's long-term care. As you probably know, our population is aging, and long-term care is extremely expensive. And you should know that 7 out of 10 bankruptcies are due to medical bills. Most people work hard their entire life and they build up a nice, comfortable nest egg, and they're one illness away from bankruptcy. And it's scary. So I think You have probably witnessed it in some form. You probably may know somebody that had a parent that went through long-term care episodes. You may have a grandparent. You may have friends of parents, things like that. Everybody knows somebody that has a story regarding medical bills. And long-term care isn't getting any cheaper. Life expectancy is growing. It means we're living longer. Doesn't mean we're living healthier.
Mhm.
So, for some reason, there's a big predominance now of Alzheimer's and dementia. It's skyrocketing, the cases of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, where it's keeping people in long-term care facilities longer. The average cost is anywhere, depending on where you are in the country, is anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 a month. Who's got that kind of money? There are people that have that kind of money, obviously, but why would you want to spend it and deplete your life savings on medical costs? So long-term care is extremely important. Whole life IULs are a very important part of a business plan. Any business owner has to have life insurance. If they don't, shame on them. Not only are the uses in a partnership situation where you have buy-sell agreements that are needed in place, because I know I don't want my wife as a partner should something happen to should my partner pass away. I'm not going to inherit his wife as a partner. Okay, I don't want that. Or his smart ass kid as a partner. I don't want that. I want some protections. So buy
Mhm.
sell agreements are used for every, or should be used for every business partnership out there. Our tools, our cases have infinite banking. There's nothing better than being your own bank. These products have some tax advantages at the same time. So every business owner, or most business owners that you speak with, you're going to ask them what's their number one thorn in their side, and they're going to tell you taxes. So a lot of life insurance products have tax advantages. So at the end of the year, do you want to write a big check to the government, or do you want to put it into yourself, protecting your business and your family? Because there are some tax deductibilities there. If I want to retire, how do I leave the business to my children? They don't have the money to buy me out. And if I don't get bought out, how can I retire? So
Mhm.
business succession planning is a key part of using these products. So now it's not just selling insurance, it's selling a plan. And insurance products happen to be the tools that we use to implement that plan. We ask every client, if I were to design a plan for you for retirement, would you want that money to be taxable or non-taxable? Of course,
It's a
everybody's going to say
no-brainer, right?
non-taxable. Everybody's going to say non-taxable. I'm going to say, well, that's not what you're doing. Everybody is sold on Ks. Everybody's wired to put their money into asset-based products, where market-based products where everything's taxable. And in most cases, who's the biggest winner is the government. So let's take those taxable monies that you have and put it into something that has tax benefits where it comes out tax-free. The days, and I know you're probably a lot younger than I am, but the days of pensions are over with. The days of matching dollar for dollar on your 401ks are over with. There are many companies that'll match, but maybe a max of 3%. Okay. So people are deferring taxes, but only to pay them later. So the problem is people are wired to think one way, where our job is to give them an alternative that they may not be aware of. So, you ask them some questions and they answer you a way that they're not aware of how that answer is coming out, because they want one thing, but they're doing another. And that's where the
Mhm.
insurance products really come in. Most of our clients are small business owners. We've got a lot of pro athletes. We have high net worth people. And I started in the business on the smaller end, like everybody does, selling the term policies. And this was a long time ago when insurance products they haven't really evolved to what they are right now. So I did a lot of group health insurance for small business owners, and I did a lot of term policies for friends, things like that. And I always made a good living at it. But as the products started evolving, and as the tax laws start changing, the insurance carriers, who are the largest companies in the world, okay, they're not the largest companies in the world because they're not making money. They have to compete with the big business. So they have developed these products that have a lot of advantages and play by a different set of rules than market-based assets do. So if you know those rules, you could be a monster in this business because you're going to educate people in ways that they've never been educated before.
So you feel like there's a trend with, well, everybody putting money into 401ks, taxed deferred savings plans, and things like that. And then also with the long-term care, that insurance is a growing opportunity, especially as the products have evolved, to be able to not be taxed on your income, leave an inheritance or something when you leave this place, and then also just kind of solves the long-term care issue as well. Would you say that's fueling growth right now, or what's the biggest opportunity for growth or segment where you've noticed growth?
I will say right now in the insurance industry, the biggest growth is in the long-term care sector. A lot of the companies that I deal with, they are opening up departments just to handle the amount of long-term care business that's being submitted. The problem, and here's a couple of the reasons why. Years ago, and I'll give you an example, my mother, who, God bless her, is 99 years old, she has had a long-term care policy for, 35 years, 40 years that she's been paying into. And back then, $1,000 a month benefit was huge. That'll cover all your medical bills all day. Well, now it doesn't even pay for her prescriptions. And the problem is if she cancels it, she loses the 40 years worth of premium she's paid into it. If she passes away, the family doesn't get any benefit. It's a use it or lose it in the past. In the past, the long-term care products were use it or lose it. They were scrutinized. Now it is, again, another insurance product that has evolved. They are putting long-term care policies into a chassis of whole life or IULs. So it's not a use it or lose it anymore. So now you're going to pay into it. If you die, there's a death benefit. If you live and you need money, it's growing cash value. If you go into care, you don't have to pay the premiums anymore. The premiums freeze. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now it's an interactive product. Life insurance, before you used to buy life insurance in case you die young. Now people are afraid that they're living too long. And along with a longer lifespan comes health issues and expenses of living too long. People are worried about outliving their money. And the biggest portion of that is medical bills. So that's the experience that I'm seeing as far as growth in the industry is the long-term care sector.
Okay. How does that impact how you're guiding your company or as CEO right now?
We do things a little bit different, Brenton. We don't push products. There's a lot of insurance people out there that will push products. Somebody asks for a term policy. Yeah, I got a term policy. Here you go, sign. Somebody says, oh, I heard about whole life. Yeah, I got a whole life policy. Here, sign. I call those people, they have commission breath because they're not taking the time to learn what the client really needs. So we keep our advisors, and we call them advisors. We don't call them insurance agents. They're all advisors because if somebody brings in a case and says, yeah, I'm submitting this term case, my first question is, and I'm kind of a hands-on CEO, my question is, why did you sell them a term policy? Usually their answer is because that's what they asked for. I'm like, well, if you ask for a Lamborghini, does that mean somebody's going to sell you a Lamborghini? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You have to dig in and dive in and see what the client's needs are. And you will find when you have a discussion with your clients and you ask them about their lifestyle and their desires and their needs and their wants and their family life and how they plan on doing things in the future, you'll find that little $50 a month term policy could turn into 5, 6, 7, or 8 different cases for that family. Because when you're designing a plan, you're putting a whole life policy in place for the future or an IUL. You're putting a term policy until the kid, a limited term policy because you want to make sure that the money's there in case you die young for the kids. It's a smaller premium with a higher death benefit. You're putting one on your wife because what would happen if your wife were to pass away, or your spouse, I should say, were to pass away? What would you do without the dual income? So now you're taking one little term policy and you're expanding it to 5, 6, 7 different policies. You're handling the what ifs. And that's one thing I'm very, very big about. And that's one thing you'll always hear out of my mouth is what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? How are you going to handle it? So now you've got a client that's going to be your client for life because you took the time to take care of his family. You gave him the financial stability he needs to know that no matter what happens in my life, I'm protected and my family will always be okay. So we take a different approach. I don't like selling products. I like selling plans. And if you like our plan, that plan will protect your family forever. It'll protect your future. It'll protect your income. It'll protect you from medical expenses. It'll take care of your legacy. And putting a plan together will help fund a trust. And it's all going to be tax-free for your family. The last thing they need if you were to pass away is a tax issue. So that's how we focus our business. That's how we've grown tremendously. And to be honest with you, that's how we deal with the higher net worth people as well. Because you probably know this, the wealthiest people in the world have the most insurance in the world.
I believe it. The Rothschilds and everybody's exactly, evidence of that. So question, I know you mentioned a couple times, your clientele is typically the, wealthier families and you're targeting and tailoring your product to them. How are you targeting those specific individuals, and how do you
We are, the way I've really experienced some exponential growth in my business is we stopped with the how and we went to the who. If that makes sense to you. When you're asking yourself, how am I going to find a client? How am I going to get this case through? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Whereas if you shifted your focus as a business owner and shifted it to the who can I find that's going to refer me the business? Who needs my advice rather than figuring out how? And when I changed my mindset as a business owner, I know the struggles of owning a business and growing a business. And I know that every business needs a plan. So how am I going to find people who used to be my issue? When I switched it to who is going to refer me to those people, I came up with every business owner has an accountant. Every business owner has a CPA. Every business owner may have an attorney. Every business owner knows other business owners. Every pro athlete knows other pro athletes. Every attorney knows other attorneys. So when you start developing a plan of your business will explode overnight because it just takes you doing the right thing for one client for the word to spread. And I think if I took care of you and your family, Brenton, and you have a buddy that you're talking to that's in the same position as you, have 5 kids, which you're out of your mind, but 5 kids. Hey, you need to talk to this guy. He has taken care of my family beyond belief. He took the time to know about my family. He took the time to know my income situation. He took the time to know what my future holds or my expectations of the future are. He understands my desires to take care of my family. I want my kids to go to school. I want to have a home. I want to have this and I want to have that. And he really took the time to get to know me and my situation. And we all know that everybody's situation is different. So if you're out pushing products, you're doing it wrong because everybody's situation is different. Their desires, their needs are all different. Their age, their health, everything about a person is different. And if you're pushing the same product for everybody, you're not doing your job.
Absolutely. It feels like some of what you've said here today that I've heard multiple times echoed through is, like you just said, stop pushing the product. It's less about the sale, more about the relationship, understanding their needs. If you were to rewind back to young Ruben as an advisor, an agent, right before you were at this level, what advice would you give young Ruben as to how you can do that, but also how to get quick wins, if you will, to be able to make it a sustainable path and provide that income for a 35-year run in the insurance industry?
The one word of advice I would give a young Ruben or any young person that I've ever dealt with in this business is work on relationships. Too many people in this industry starting out depend on something called leads. And I was in it. Everybody I know is in it. That's how you started in this business. You needed people to talk to. You're a 20-something-year-old kid, and I don't know enough people to make a living doing this unless I worked for a company that was supplying leads for me. But this is with the products today, which are much different than the products when I started out, is if you want to be successful, if you want to make a great living and have a great life for you and your family, is stop talking, start listening, and build relationships, because somebody will come to you at some point and says, I've got this situation and I need your help. The only way that's ever going to happen is if you've built relationships and you start developing a reputation for yourself. That's what I would tell every young person today's days.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. You were talking about the need for death benefit and things, and I got a call this week, maybe a few days ago, and it was from somebody that I used to work with, and I had written him an insurance policy when he was 32 years old, in great health, or excuse me, he was 34, in great health. He's now 36. It's only been 2 years since he got his policy, and he called me, and I had no idea what he was going through, and he called me to let me know that he got pretty aggressive brain cancer. They actually had to take part of his brain out. His life expectancy is really low. He's got 3 kids and a wife. And at this point, he just said, I just really wanted to thank you so much for being there and helping me get the insurance. It's something that I know that I needed, but I hadn't gotten. And, to this point where I know that my family is going to be taken care of. If anybody's on the fence, just you can tell him about my story, is what he said. And I thought it was touching because, you never know what life's going to throw at us, but it's always nice to be prepared.
That's what I tell you about the what ifs. I mean, life is just full of what ifs. And you could be healthy today and in hospice tomorrow. I mean, it's just, life throws you a lot of curveballs, Brenton. And this industry, in my opinion, could be the most important and rewarding industry you could possibly be in. And if you put your heart into it and you listen to everybody's situations and grow your mind and open your mind as far as I need to be creative because I need to help this person. You have that attitude with every single client, the money will come. You will be a great supporter for your family. You're going to change lives of other families. And this could be one of the most rewarding careers, in my opinion, that anybody could possibly have, other than obviously a physician or things like that, where you're helping people. And this is the type of business and it's sad to say, it's a revolving door. Not everybody can do this. And I think people want immediate gratification getting into the insurance industry, and they're going to shove products down people's throats because they got to pay their mortgage or they got to put food on the table. And I get it to an extent. But my opinion is, if you're going to get into this industry, do it right. Otherwise, again, you'll be selling cars in a year. So if you do it right and you have the mindset of doing it right and you have perhaps a little bit of cushion where you can afford to do it right, this is the greatest business you could possibly get into.
Absolutely. And I love what you're talking about, the passion and the thing in specific to this, not just, PNC or anything out there, which I'm not saying anything bad against those, but specifically with our discussion here with life, it's one of the unique products, aside from maybe term, but that, they will pay for and they will 100% use. It's not like, hey, you pay for this insurance, and if you crash your car, or if you don't crash your car, you still paid for it. Everybody comes out the same way they came into this life, and we're all going to pass. And even the long-term products, like you said, with a death benefit that you're going to use, it's like an absolute no-brainer.
That's right. With the long-term care products, I tell people, no matter what, this policy will pay out, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
If you need long-term care, it'll pay out. If you pass away, it'll pay out. If you cancel it, hit the lottery and I cancel it, you're going to get paid back. You need money. You go into your account and there's cash value. So no matter what, this policy will pay out. You can't say that about too many products. And that's where I fell in love with the life end of the business, where it will pay out no matter what. You hold your, and there's so many creative ways of doing it for small business owners. Geez, I'm retiring in 10 years. Okay, we'll do a 10 pay. So when you sell your business, your policy's paid up and it takes you into your retirement without having to worry about paying the premiums on it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, everybody's situation is different, Brenton, and that's why I love working with the small business owners, because everybody's on a different timeline. And you can get really creative with all the products to put in all the protections, to put in products that will cover all the what ifs within their time frame. And big doctors and big surgeons, they don't just go in and do a surgery. It's not a factory. For an important surgery, they get together with a board of directors and they have 4, 5, 6 other doctors figuring out the best way to go at this case. What's the best way to perform this surgery? And there's always, and we love calling this the 10th man, hey, we've designed this perfect product. It's one person's job to tear our decision apart. Okay. That's how we look at things. We get together with our group of people and say, this is what we're going to do for this person. And it's one person's job to say, nah. And that's how we know when we come to a decision, it's the best decision for the client. And as an agency, we have a back shop that we go to, and we've got relationships, again, I'm going to use the word relationships, with the carriers that we use. And they help design some of these products where they have CPAs on staff. They have tax attorneys on staff that help us design our programs for the small business owners. We even have our own in-house underwriter. Okay. So if we've all had in this business, we've all had declines in the past. In my opinion, no case is declined until we say it's declined. Because if I have a decline, I take it to our in-house underwriter and he's going to say, hold on a second. This should not be declined. And here are the reasons why. And he makes a call to the underwriter. Okay. He's been in the business 20 some odd years. He was a head underwriter from a major company. And he knows every head underwriter at every company. And he's got the respect. If he's going to pick up a phone and call, he's going to have his reasons as to why they should approve it. Now, if this company has specific guidelines where they can't go beyond those guidelines, he'll know of a company to take it to get it approved. So we repackage it and take it to that other company. So right now, we're at about a 50% overturn rate on declines.
Wow,
and
that's great.
It's huge because with our cases, we're not selling these $50 or $100 a month term policies. Many of our cases are 6-figure annual premium cases. Okay. So as long as we can get them approved, our plan works. Even if they're rated, it doesn't really matter. Our plan still works. So our main concern is, can we get this client approved? It doesn't matter what their health condition is, as long as it's not a terminal illness, chances are we can get them done and the plan works. So building the relationships with the companies, building the relationships with the underwriters. I got many companies that we deal with. I have the underwriter's cell phone and I call them myself because they know if I'm calling, I don't throw things against the wall, hope it sticks. I'm going to come in and give them my opinion as to why it should be approved. And half the time I'm wrong only because I'm not privy to the information that they have. So that would be the only reason. Other than that, we've got a good shot at implementing everybody's plan that we put together.
I love it. I wasn't really aware of that before I got into the industry. It's like you send it to the underwriters, but yeah, I've seen that over and over again, as well as the relationships and having those decisions overturned. That's awesome.
Powerful.
I've got a question. What's that?
Powerful. It really
It
is
is.
powerful stuff.
I know we're running out of time here. One of the questions I love to ask is about challenges, and in specific, not just generalized challenges that you face, but if you had a magic wand that you could wave and solve your biggest issue, what is that issue?
It's rewiring the general public's mind to opening up their thinking pattern of stop doing the status quo. Stop doing what everybody has been taught to do for generations. Work hard, contribute to your 401k, buy your house, pay off your house, and retire happy. Things have changed in this world. Okay. The only way to be the best in your business is to adapt to those changes, be aware of them, and adapt. It's not like it was years and years ago where the old school guy always sticks to his guns and this is the way he's going to do it. It doesn't matter. In today's world, that doesn't work anymore. You have to have your old school values, but you have to be willing to adapt to change, and you've got to be confident, and you have to be a student of your business in order to be the best. And with the insurance products, Brenton, as you know, they're no different than any other business. They always got the latest and greatest products out. Okay. So what I sold you 5 years ago was the best for your situation at the time. But guess what? Your life has changed over the last 5 years, and products have changed over the last 5 years. So as an advisor, it's my job to have your best interest at heart and recommend that we change the product that I put you into years ago, because this product has so many different features that weren't available in the past. That's the advisor thinking. There's too many people out there that have no idea who they sold and what they sold 5 years ago. They don't even remember their names. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you develop relationships, these clients will be with you for your entire career, and those clients will be recommending you to other clients. And this is how you build your business. So if I were to take one thing, I would rewire everybody's mind to open up to the world of products. Don't do what everybody tells you to do. Think outside the box. The days of living in your house and having those mortgage burning ceremonies are over with. Nobody lives in their house for 30 years anymore. Okay. One thing for sure is that things are going to change. So if you're going to change, you should always change it for the better. You should. I come from the school of put every dollar to use. Okay. Every dollar you earn should be making you money. Okay. Don't put it into something and defer it and say, I'll worry about the taxes later. We don't know if Social Security is going to be around later. We don't know what your tax bracket's going to look like later. We don't know if your 401k will even perform later. If you're going to depend on the markets, nobody controls the markets. So why am I going to control my future with this money and putting it into something that I don't control? Insurance
Especially,
products. Hey, Brenton, insurance product is the only guaranteed investment you'll ever have in your lifetime. Nothing else has guarantees. Think about that. That's a little food for thought. I
amen.
want to make sure that I'm taking care of somebody and I'm guaranteeing their future. At any year, I could say, at this year, this is exactly how much you'll have. At this year, this is exactly how much cash value you'll have. At this year, if you pass away, this is what your family will have. So I like pointing to the down the road and say, I know exactly what you have. Because I got a lot of friends that are financial advisors. When the market takes a dump, I love calling them and saying, hey, buddy, how many calls have you gotten today? He's like, Ruben, you don't even know. I said, ask me how many calls I got. Zero. Because my clients are protected and they're guaranteed. They don't care what's happening with the market.
That's the nice thing too about our business. You know, I mean, they get paid assets under management,
Sure.
but they have to deal with the clients, and are they really doing what's best for the client, where we get paid. And yeah, like with the annuities and other financial products out there, the ability to lock in, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah, look, I'm glad you're doing this. I think it's going to open up some minds of anybody that may watch this, and hopefully it'll put a different spin on the business for all of us, and it'll give everybody a much needed boost in this industry to say, hey, man, we're not doing this to push products. We're doing this to help you. And life today's days, like I said, insurance just to be purchased because if you die too soon. Now it's what if I live too long? How am I
Mhm.
how am I gonna afford life if I live to 100? If I retire at 65, 67, what am I gonna do for 30 years? How am I gonna be able to survive? Those are real thoughts in your head. So insurance products gives you the guarantees. This is how you're gonna survive. Let me show you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ruben, for all of the insights here. I think I got a lot of takeaways, especially in regards to sowing those seeds, in the relationships and building relationships, really caring about clients, caring about the people that you're working with, and growing a business organically, because I have seen a lot of agents fail with high lead costs, high chargebacks, debt roll up, the whole 9 yards, and especially spooling when you're feeding so much money into leads. So this is just a sustainable growth model. And yeah, I really appreciate you being on it. Any last words here?
I will tell you, Britton, and I'm going to take this one step to relationship building. And in the industry, you get persistency reports from the companies you deal with. I would say in the last going on almost 5 years, we're close to 100% persistency as an agency.
Wow.
Now, the only reason that happens is when you sell a plan and you don't sell products.
Sure.
Okay, so you want to build a business. This is how you build a business. Listen, put together a plan. You'll make more money. Your client's well protected, and nobody's going to ever come behind you and say, hey, I got a cheaper term policy. They're going to say, who cares? My guy took care of everything for me. No, thank you. So I
Absolutely.
can leave you with that, Brenton.
Well, thank you, Ruben. And again, this was the Insurance Playbook podcast sponsored by Spark AI Partners. If you know somebody that needs to hear it, send it to them, share it with them, DM it to them, like the podcast. That's how we get out to everybody who needs to hear it. And we'll see you on the next episode.